An absolutely insightful dialogue here, the Nelson Mandela Foundation. As you know, that this is a very sacred place where Nelson Mandela really wanted more dialogues to be held, really looking at breaching faith and justice, but also looking at a very horrific situation that is still unfolding in Gaza. As you know, that in Rafah, for example, where the Israeli authorities have taken control of the border between Egypt and Palestine. But Prof. Isaac here, in fact, Dr. Isaac is here with us to give us more insight. I mean, a very refreshing picture that you're giving us, Doctor. You know the situation, it's very close to where you're from. Maybe just give us your initial reaction. I mean, the developments in Rafah. We've seen, for example, the US saying that they won't be sending the arms because of the developments. But by and large, what do you make of what's ongoing there?
So we're very, very concerned. The idea of invading Rafah is madness, and it could lead to and it's hard to believe, even more catastrophic results. It's already catastrophic, and the idea that Israel is still insisting on going there, and for how long do we endure these lies? I mean, they said the militants were in central Gaza under the hospital. Now they say they're in Rafah. First they told everyone to go to the south, and everybody in the south. Now they tell everyone to move back to the north. Move to where they've destroyed everything. It's appalling that this is happening under the watch of the world. And someone seems to be able to say no to Israel. And yes, it seems America now is raising concern and saying they will not send. But to be honest, I won't believe it until I see it. The United States has been complicit in this for the last 7 months. Why should we believe that now they actually have the intention to stop this genocide? The fact is already the majority of the Gaza Strip have been destroyed. Everything has been destroyed. And to think that they are even willing to go beyond that is horrifying. So we're praying, we're pleading with the world that this stops now.
And just once again, Doctor, I mean, the global activism, we've seen the students in Colombia, many other universities, even in some cities in Europe, in fact, and right here in South Africa, I mean, we saw the country going to the ICJ, but I suppose the issue of compliance, making sure that those orders of the ICJ are being followed, that's a critical issue, so that we do see the enormous difference on the ground.
Exactly. And yes, before we talk about the demonstrations in the streets and in American universities, let's acknowledge that South Africa has taken the lead in this, and let's acknowledge the important work that you have played in South Africa regarding this issue. And this is the time now to call the world for its ideals. Otherwise, what's the use of having an international court of justice or even human rights on the international law? And it's up to us in places of colonialism and previous places of apartheid to hold the world accountable for these ideals, for this is where the moral integrity lies. And today it's the students, it's the streets, it's countries like South Africa, like Algeria, that are holding the world accountable and reminding us of our responsibility as humanity to protect one another. We should not continue to rely as if on the Western world to lead in these issues, because this war has clearly highlighted the hypocrisy and racism of the Western world. So it's up to us to hold humanity for these ideals.
Prof, Doctor, in fact, a big work in South Africa where we're seeing the anti-Apartheid conference being held in Johannesburg, which so many speakers will speak out about the atrocities, flagrant human rights violation. Your expectations, I mean, obviously you're calling for new ideas. What do you make of this particular step?
I think this is an important conference because it wants to draw on the many grassroots movements around the world and join the efforts in a global anti-apartheid movement. And it's an important conference because it recognizes things for what they are. I think for years, many related to the situation in Palestine as a conflict, not as an oppressive apartheid regime. And just like in the past, the world united to say no to colonialism and apartheid, I think the world needs to do it now. And who better than South Africa to lead such a movement? Our hope that this conference translates into a movement that creates ripple effects in different places around the world, in which grassroots movements hold politicians accountable, hold economy accountable, the way we invest, the way we spend, economic ties, academic ties, and so on, until Israel complies with the international law.